feel like these session episodes are my examining a case study of what's the franchise doing right now. I'm thinking of it as a long-term examination. So I'm really excited to get the chance to have a conversation, not only just about Act All Along, but also the fact that it's the latest MCU project. And first of all, I want to know, how do you feel about the MCU? Let's start there.
I actually was such a comic reader. I didn't like the X-Men movies, right? Because it was like the year 2000. So I would have been like, I don't know, 17 years old, I think, whenever that movie came out. And of course, I was huge into the comics. So all of the images of a angry little nerd who's had their franchise ruined, you're coming after my childhood, that kind of nonsense. I was a child, right? So it's kind of reasonable for a child to say something
you were right.
absurd. All of my takes from 2000 just aged like fine wine.
Please do not pull up my comic book resource account. Do not do that. I have nuked it. Nothing's there, okay? Leave me alone.
Exactly. So when the MCU started, I was like, the Avengers were in the cop era, like really hard, you know, in the comics. It was like Bendis era, all of that. They start to be like super military. That's what comics and movies, I mean, movies, comics, they still are. But like at that time, having gone from like the 90s, which were like just bonkers and still pro-military in many ways, but just nuts. So how seriously can you take a lot of it? After 9/11, comics really changed and Hollywood changed and the country changed. I was over it, I guess would be the way to say, before it ever started. And then years later, I finally decided just to question what a hater I am. And I was like, maybe you should push back on that a little bit. And I allowed myself to get excited. It was whenever I was working for Sci-Fi Fangirls, because my job entailed that I actually needed to know these things. For instance, whenever Captain Marvel came out.
Let me just take a moment and be like, I got paid to do this, okay? The rest of you nerds did this willingly. Okay, nerds?
Did this willingly? People offered me cash money, and so I watched these movies.
Well, I'm exceptional.
And I respect that.
When Captain Marvel came out, it was like Carol Danvers paid my rent multiple months. There were 3 or 4 months where just the fact that I was the only one who read every 1,000 appearances of Carol Danvers, I was just like, I've got a pitch.
And you were the first?
I was the first and the only. Yeah, nobody else had read all those comics.